One of the worst feelings is taking your Tesla out on a road trip and making the mistake of forgetting crucial steps that will negatively impact your experience. I mean, it's a road trip. You're meant to have fun and leave the stress behind, for goodness sakes. So I've compiled 7 essential things that Tesla experts do when traveling that you probably don't. So by the end of the video, you will become one of those Tesla experts and feel prepared when taking your Tesla out on the road. Now, before you even think about heading off to your Tesla road trip, you need to understand a couple things. A, where you would actually be going, and B, what time of the year you'd be going. Let me explain. When it comes to where, this Weekend Warrior Airbnb hack is a must know. So let's say you're heading to the Muskoka Lakes. There's actually a filter in the top right that you can click, and once you scroll down to amenities, click show more, and in the features section you will see a checkbox for EV charger. Now this does reduce the number of places you get, but I'll get to that in a second. Alright, let me click on this guest favorite, and if I want a visual confirmation, I click on the images and boom, you see a picture of a Tesla. This was not scripted, I swear, and it says Tesla charger available on site, so you can drive every morning to your next venture with a full battery. However, if you are unhappy with the selection of Airbnbs remaining, you can go to plan B, and that is bringing your Tesla mobile connector. As you can see, you can plug into any 110 volt outlet, and another thing you can do is message any Airbnb host before actually booking to ask them if a 110 volt outlet is accessible wherever the Tesla will be parked. Ideally inside a garage, but not all Airbnbs come with garages, so make sure you ask. Also, what I previously meant by when is what time of the year you'd be going, and if you have brutal winter months like I do in Canada, there are key things to know about your Tesla. 1, you will see a significant drop in the total range you will get out of a full charge, about 15 to 20% range loss among the 4 Teslas, according to Electric. So 2 things you can do to combat this. 1, plan for sooner supercharger stops, and if it's really snowy, Tesla sells snow chains for your tires to prep your Tesla for slippery, snowy terrains. If you were ever to ask a Tesla expert what steps you need to follow to actually prep your Tesla for this road trip, they would tell you the following. Always make sure you have downloaded and installed the latest Tesla software update. For bug fixes, improved features, and some software releases may have an impact on the range of your battery. You should also book a service appointment for your Tesla by visiting in person or simply just call a mobile technician to come to you. They take about an hour to complete the job, which is pretty convenient. Now, it's really important to do these service checks if you had your Tesla for a few years. AC descended bag replacement every 4 years, cabin air filter replacement every 2 years, if it's a HEPA every 3 years, lubricate your brake calipers every 12,500 miles, rotate tires every 6,250 miles, brake fluid check every 4 years. Okay, I know that was a lot, so go back and screenshot it if you need to. If you're looking for winter tires, Tesla does sell it at a pretty price, but I would actually recommend going to a third-party vendor and using a trusty mechanic who knows how to jack up a Tesla. More on that later. When it comes to the correct tire pressure to use, there are people online literally fighting on forums, but I say why not trust Elon himself, who suggests 39 psi if you're prioritizing ride comfort or 45 psi if you value range more. Tesla experts always carry these key Tesla accessories when traveling, and believe it or not, it could save your life. Now, I'll include links in the description to all of these accessories, and the first one won't save your life, but it will save your interior floor. I've already gone over the channel just how garbage the default Tesla floor mats really are, so I'll actually recommend these all-season weather floor mats that elevate the look of the interior and are easier to clean when natural elements like dirt, mud, or snow stick to your shoes that you bring inside with you to your Tesla. And I mentioned previously to never forget your Tesla mobile connector. Unfortunately, Tesla did stop including this with the purchase of your car, so you will have to get it through Tesla's shop. And it comes with a mobile connector, NEMA 515 and 1450 adapter, as well as a storage bag. The J1172 adapter should already come with your Tesla, but if not, I will include a third-party link to it, as well as one for a CCS adapter. Also, I strictly use Google Navigation as I find it to be more accurate in providing an efficient route versus Tesla navigation, which is why I always carry this phone window mount to have the convenience of viewing navigation without straining my neck and looking down at my phone, which is also dangerous, by the way. No, these are not hockey pucks, but rather something you need to purchase immediately after ordering your Tesla. These rubber circles are Tesla-specific jack pads that are conveniently inserted in the appropriate lift areas, and doing so will prevent any damage to your battery, which you should treat like your baby. Okay, the next 3 I'm going to fire off real quick, and they could actually save your life. The first one being a portable chargeable tire inflator, which is great if you need to adjust that PSI we were talking about earlier, or helping out with a flat tire. It is also good to carry a first aid kit for obvious reasons, but I'm no doctor, so carry in it what is recommended by your actual doctor. Lastly, this chargeable flashlight that also doubles as a power bank, so you can flashlight for help if your Tesla battery died in case you decided not to follow an effective charging strategy, which I'll be covering later in the video, so don't fear. I bet you didn't know that there are certain rules to follow when storing luggage or any other items in your Tesla. I'll be using the Model Y for my example. Now, it's good to be extra cautious and pack the entire world in your Tesla, but you need to strike a balance of things you'll actually use on the trip, because the heavier your luggage or any other cargo is, the worse your efficiency will be. So if you have some random heavy things laying in your car for storage, you may want to unpack that prior to leaving. And ask yourself, does everyone need to go on this road trip? I mean, hey, if they're gonna be a buzzkill, leave them behind for that weight reduction. It's all about range, baby. Other things to consider is if you're towing something with your Tesla, that will really take a hit on your range. And if you have a roof rack with items like surfboards or skis attached to them, that will lead to more drag. And you guessed it, a negative impact on your range. But I don't want you to walk away with the fear of not packing anything, because our Model Y is actually super practical in terms of how much you can store. Just look at how you can fit a whole-sized me in it laying down with no problem. And in another occasion during an airport run, we managed to pack 5 large heavy suitcases with no problem. Something Tesla owners fail to realize is that you need to have a very strong charging strategy, and doing so will eliminate that dreaded range anxiety. What influenced me and what I bet convinced you to get a Tesla is their supercharger network that no other EV has. This network is so impressive that it feeds data to Tesla each time you plug into a supercharger on the number of stalls that are occupied and vacant, meaning it will take that into consideration when planning your navigation route and recommend which supercharging station to actually use and how much battery percentage you will arrive with. So really, half the planning is done for you. When it comes to what percentage you should actually charge to, it is 80 to 90% normally, but only exception to the rule where you can charge your Tesla to 100% is on road trips, and you can't let your Tesla rest at 100%, which is why I don't recommend charging it the night before, but rather utilize it right after it's charged. Another exception is LFP batteries that are in the rear-wheel drive variants that require you to charge to 100% at least once a week. During these charging stops, you could stretch your legs or keep yourself entertained by watching Netflix in your Tesla. Also, while you're at the supercharger, it is important to follow the classic urinal etiquette. Nothing more uncomfortable than being right next to someone when you're well, the same applies to your Tesla. People will give you a mean mug if you decide to park next to them, since it drops down the kilowatt charge from 150 to 72. Lastly, if you decide to stuff a burger in your face, make sure you do it before the charging is complete, since you will incur idle fees 5 minutes after you have finished charging. First one is waived off normally, but you didn't hear that little secret from me. And you won't believe what I saw during one of our charging stops. I encountered an Acura MDX casually parked at a supercharger stall. Let me know in the comments if you have ever come across this before. Also, not surprised this guy has an unpaid parking ticket. Did you know your Tesla driving style and your Tesla menu settings has an impact on the amount of range you'll be getting?
Now, if you do want to get the most out of your range for this Tesla road trip, you follow these settings.
You want to select chill as a drive mode, as it delivers less torque every time you floor your Tesla. In terms of steering mode, any mode works, none of them have an impact on range. But when it comes to stopping modes, creep, roll are no-no. But hold will utilize regenerative braking that delivers power back into your battery. And wow, that's an awkward thumbs up. There's also off-road assist while you're off-roading, but it will limit autopilot features. Lastly, slip start if you ever get stuck in mud or snow.
One more thing you can do to maximize your range is turning off your climate. And the way to do that, I have a shortcut for you, is just to hold the temperature down. Now you may be thinking, hey man, I want to enjoy my heat when I'm driving in the winter. Well, I'll suggest this. Dressing up extra warm, like wearing a beanie or wrapping around yourself with a scarf. And if it's summertime, remove layers.
Lowering your window, sticking your head out, and enjoying that crisp, beautiful air. Actually, go ahead and ignore my last point completely and keep your windows up when driving, since lowering them down creates drag that can negatively impact your range, so you'll just have to suffer in the heat instead. But I will offer you a different tip to compensate you for my last mistake. You want to drive 55 to 60 miles per hour at the very most for long stretches, since there is a diminishing return in the amount of range you get as you increase your overall speed. For example, the chart shows at a constant speed of 75 miles per hour results in a loss of 70 miles compared to when driving at 55 75 miles per hour, which was a test done on a Model S by Inside EVs. If you ever wondered how good the Tesla headlights are in comparison to a gas car, check this out. We were headed into our Airbnb through an isolated road and it was pitch black. So we were toggling between the low and high beam lights to show you how effective they actually are with visibility. It even helped us spot a deer crossing the road. Now we've covered what you should be doing before your Tesla road trip, during, but now let's go over what you need to be doing at the actual destination. And this is absolutely crucial. And this involves avoiding battery draining activities. The first thing you need to do is spot the EV charger that is available at your stay to test it out to see if it is actually outputting charge to your battery. And if it isn't, letting your Airbnb host know about it, in case there is probably some button you have to click to turn it on. So for us, we had it conveniently located right next to the entrance of our cottage, and it required me to attach a J1772 adapter, which I mentioned earlier if you were paying attention. You gotta always carry it with you. And the convenience of controlling the charge limit in your Tesla app made it 10 times easier. So I was typically topping it up to 100% every day right after we had our breakfast and when we were just about ready to hit the road. Now the issue arises when you don't have an EV charger available on site or nowhere to plug in your mobile connector and you're solely relying on superchargers. In that scenario, you want to avoid these two battery draining activities, one of them being Sentry mode. In my personal experience, I have seen about a 5% drop in battery per day when the Tesla is left parked, so you may want to disable this feature. Secondly, leaving your cabin overheat protection enabled. It probably drains your battery in a similar amount, so I would shut that off as well. Another one I have not heard many people mention is Summon mode, but it does require you to purchase the enhanced autopilot package from Tesla, and if you do have it, leaving Summon on standby mode drains considerable amount of battery. Some have even reported up to 10% loss per day when left on, so I would suggest enable it only when you actually need to use it. And to actually be efficient, I would recommend using scheduled departure to precondition your battery and allow it to be in an optimal temperature when you're driving your Tesla, leading to maximum efficiency out of your battery utilization. Now, the number one thing that all Tesla experts do is subscribe to this channel. Make sure you watch my brutally honest 6-month review on my Tesla.